All right, I'm all the way live. Mm, do, do, all the way live. I'm gonna start using that just that little part from Lakeside. It's all the way live. I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna get one of the little machines that you can do all these little effects for. Anyhow, I'm live. It's Sunday. I'm live. Um, and so people, hopefully, everyone start getting a notification. I am live. Until people come in, people start popping in. I'm just going to talk about the subject. It's going to be gear, hardware versus software. I think there are, while we're waiting for people to chime in. Wow, I got a light before. Wow. Okay. Um, Appreciate that. Um, so I'm going to talk about hardware versus software, and I like both because I think they both have got advantages. Um, I think what I like about software is because of all the options that you have with software. What I like about hardware is just definitely everyone likes hardware simply because of the sound, the sonic of it. But I think the software, I think the software gives people a lot of advantage to, especially to plug-in gear, which is I call it software outboard gear. I think that the software gives advantage to being able to have some of the all the top gear that we call that the dream outboard gear that you see in all these racks and these expensive studios. It's kind of like, well, I can't afford a real Fairchild 670, but I sure got a plug-in. And what's great about the plugins is they're about 90+% of the real unit. So when it's that close, you're definitely not gonna hear that in a mix. Um, you have to really listen to some serious sonic characters to really tell the difference between software and plugins. I think a lot of times, a lot of older engineers, when plugins were first coming out around, they were starting to get big around the early 2000s. They just weren't that good. I think it's simply because of the bit rate for computers. Everything was 16 bit. Computers were only operating systems were only 32 bit, and so the plug-in modeling wasn't. It just didn't have enough. Computers weren't powerful enough. But I think that with computers today, I don't care Mac, PC, especially with the Mac with the M1 chips. That's what I'm going to get treat myself for Christmas is a Mac with an M1 processor. Um, I think with the processing capability of computers today, and that's really what makes the plug-in shine. A lot of times, if you don't have a powerful enough PC or Mac, you're not going to hear the modeling of the plug-in enough if your computer isn't powerful enough. But I think that's the reason why I like plugins. I think it's kind of like sometimes with these plugins, I can get an original vintage piece of gear and it's going to be limited, but they give you more options. Plus, what's great about plugin software is I can put that same plugin across 20 channels. Real world, you're not having 20 real 11. I don't know any studio that can have 20 1176 compressors. I don't any studio that has that. Not even your most expensive ones have 20. They might have 3 or 4 per control room, but they're sure not gonna have 2025 76s in each control room. No one most people just don't have that kind of money. Well, unless you're Blackbird. I don't know. I don't know where Blackbird gets his kind of money. Um, I'm just amazed. If you ever watched the Blackbird tour, I've never seen someone with so much gear. Um, so we got Secrete Studios in the house. Outboard personnel, stand up. That's right. Hook up. Check static lines. Check equipment. I'll sign up for equipment check. Stand by. All okay, jump masters. First jumper standing the well, they don't tell the jumpers to stay in the door anymore. They just tell the first jumper on the stick, stand by. and then you have to, as a jump master, you do your last door checks, and then you're ready to look out the window and like you're spotting the drop zone. And then after you see the drop zone, bam, other than that, just wait for the light to go green. Go. Okay. That's some airborne stuff. Okay. Oh, it says, Dre, do you use MPC in your studio? Yes, right here. I got an MPC studio downstairs, and I got an MPC Renaissance. I don't have any of the newer. I don't have the new MPCs because I really like my Renaissance. I really like this. This is my favorite MPC is the MPC Renaissance. So I do all my beat making stuff with that. So says, oh no, says I finally caught your live stream. I found your channel because of your Altron MP73s. Let me tell you, that is the best bang for the buck. If you want, I don't know how in the world he's getting away with getting those Neve sound for the price of those. Those things are only $399. I got 3 of them because I was looking at, of course, like everyone else, looking at the Warm Audios, the Heritage Audio Ventec. But I saw those MP73s by Altron and I heard them. I was convinced. I was convinced. That's I got to get one. I got to get another one. I got 3. I'm buying one more. I always like to have 4. With those, they're so affordable. You might see 8 or 9, 10 of them. Those things are that good. So we got DL. Hello, Mar. How are you? I'm good. Welcome to the channel, DL. I'm good. Welcome. Says, do you ever join us Personas Zoom streams? No, I haven't. I hadn't really, I'm be honest, I hadn't really knew there was a Persona Zoom stream. So we got Mark Morris. What's up from Texas? Hey, what's going on, Mark from Texas? I used to live in Texas. I used to be stationed at Fort Hood in Killeen. I used to be stationed down in Houston. I was a recruiter there. I used to live in Austin for a minute. I used to live in Waco. But I've been all over Texas. I love Texas, except Texas can get kind of hot. So that's the only thing about Texas. If you can get used to the heat, Texas is great, especially that you can't beat the housing market down there. I'm just sorry, you can't. Everyone want to live in California. Yeah, you can pay, the same square footage home in California, about $9 million. You get the same square footage home in Texas for about $200,000. Okay, you can go live in California. I'm gonna go live in Texas. So I love Texas, even though I'm from Ohio. Okay. It says, let's see, the Altron was my first piece of hardware your video sold me on. Oh, okay. I'm glad you bought it. I'm glad you bought it. How it's awesome. That it's got some really good transformers in it. It's a Class A circuit. It's a solid built unit. Those are good. I use them. And they really make your mic shine. Trust me. I don't care. You got cheap mic or expensive mic. Those MP73s is a gem. So, I was talking about software versus hardware, and I love this. Of course, if you listen to the millions of records, everyone knows. Up until the late 2000s, everything was mainly consoles, tape machines, and outboard gear. But, plugins have gotten so good. I was watching a video earlier today about how Michael Brower, I don't know if y'all know who Michael Brower is. Michael Brower is a Grammy Award-winning mixing engineer that used to be one of the top chief engineers for Electric Lady recording studios in New York. And he's mixed everyone from, you name it, Coldplay to Luther Vandross and just tons of artists. And he's considered one of the top 100 mixing engineers out there. And he just sold pretty much all his outboard gear and went completely plugins. Just like Andrew Sheps. Andrew Sheps gave up his Neve console. So, I'm hard to, I can't do it. I like physically touching. Now, I like hardware. That's why I got 1,000 plugins on my computer, but I like them both. I'm just, to me, even though I think plugins are great, especially today, everyone probably know my favorite plugins are T-Rax. plugins because they're modeled after vintage gear. By like Acoustica Audio too. But I can't give it up. I mean, I spent all the money for it. I can't just, I can't do it. Some people give up. Okay, you give up that Neve. You sell that Neve to me really dirt cheap. I'm gonna get it. I don't care if it weighs £1 million. But let me see. So Dio says, has anyone ever met their wife through? Oh, I forgot to say, in Maine, 257, the 64-year-old is here. Welcome, ma'am. I apologize. I meant to say welcome to. Welcome, Man Network. Welcome on in. It says, Dio's asking, has anyone met their wife through doing music, or do people lose their wives while doing music? I made a video on this. I actually made a video on this, and it says, can your relationship hinder your ability to do music? If you haven't got a chance to see that after this live stream, go watch that, because like me, when I got married, I was already doing music way before I got married. I got married at 31. So I had already been in the Army for like 12 years. And believe it or not, my ex-wife was really supportive of my music. I had a trumpet. She had a relacquered, replayed it, and restored. My Triton Studio, at that time, this is back in 2003. She got me this for Christmas. This board at that time was like $3,000. She bought that board for me for Christmas. She bought my acoustic guitar, so she was real supportive. But the reason why we didn't work is because at the time when I was married, and I'll just throw that out there, I really, she had issues, I had issues, we had some personal issues, but at the same time, I just really didn't really learn how to be that 100% husband like I should have been. So, and eventually we just separated and we finally divorced. So she's remarried. So I'm hoping that her relationship is going well. So that's all I can say. But as far as being supportive, she used to love watching me come up here and do my music. So it's just not very, some people don't have, understanding significant others that, they can be kind of jealous. You spending getting one of them Altrons when you should have been getting her hair done. You got others like that, like you buying yourself that nice audio interface when they think you should be getting their nails done. You should be spending money on it. You got to watch who you're in a relationship. So anyhow, moving on, let me see. So anyhow, like I said, welcome, Man Network. Listen, Martin says, I'm trying to briarize my lead vocals, but I can't seem to get them locked into taste. Well, one of the biggest things, I'll tell you a couple of tricks. And let's say, because this works in the DAW too as well. But since I have a DAW, I'm just going to demonstrate on the console. A lot of times, let's say your vocals are here on channels. Let's say you got lead vocals here on channels 9 and 10, right? A lot of times, what a lot of engineers will do is they'll create a vocal chain, but they might also put some pitch correction. They might put some pitch correction on that, inserted on that channel, as well as some EQ, maybe even parallel compression. They might run a 76 and an LA2A on that channel. But then what they'll do is they'll put on another sound channel of vocals. They might put a delay, like a ping pong delay or something like that, to put vocals a little bit before. They'll change the delay time before and a little bit after to create this delay effect. It also makes it sound like the vocals are bigger. And also they'll run a send. They'll take the send channels out to a set of auxiliaries for whatever reverb processing. Like if you're going to put like a vocal plate or studio, type of effect on another set of channels, and all of a sudden your vocals start to sound big and wide, and they can pull easier in the mix to be distinguished. But when that's all that's being done, make sure that your vocal chain, in other words, they've recorded on at least a decent mic and a really nice preamp, because them clarity, those pronouncements, that a lot of that makes a difference in the way you get the warmth and the airiness and the breathiness and the clarity. All that, you got to fix that first in your front end before you can start mixing it. But I hope that makes sense. No, so as a person in my 20s who only used plugins for 10 years, I don't see myself ever going back to only plugins. Hybrid always been my preference. Like I said, plugins are great. To me, I like plugins, but hardware, it's something about the sonic character of hardware. There have been some times where, and these are considered low cost. These are considered low cost. For example, I got a pair of Leesas 3630s, these top two compressors. Some of those, because they're real pieces of gear and they run it through real electronics, and that's part of the key to anything is the electronics. Some of the plugins I got, and they can be emulations of vintage gear. And a lot of times those Leesas still sound warmer, better. And it's just because of its electronics. So that's why I still run stuff through hardware. So Nan says, I met my wife through music, married 20 years. So in a relationship, what's great about that, and I'll say this, if you got a girlfriend or a wife that's supportive, it's easier if you're doing music, especially let's say you are an engineer, musician, and your wife or girlfriend is a singer, that really works really well. It's kind of like there was a duet, and they were married for 35 years. They were an R&B group called Ashford and Simpson. They both were singers. And they both were in a business. They both were doing management together and all that. So, but unfortunately, he passed away. But if you got in a relationship where y'all are complete opposites, it may or may not work. So I don't know. I'm not going to be here a marriage therapist, because I'm just saying a lot of times when you're trying to do this, especially if you're in a business and you start meeting big time, for example, if you are running, let's say, a studio, whatever, or you're a manager, whatever, and you start meeting, being a guy, there's a lot of women out there, and there are women that are opportunists, and they see that the women thrive. They're magnet to a person that to a man that look like he has success. That's a magnet for women. So you got to be strong. So let me see. Dio says, women don't care about beats. I've never heard a woman say, I think I love you and your drum kits. I just kidding. I said, I miss my big. You tell me women don't care about beats. Okay, what about the women twerking? They twerking to some beats. So they definitely ain't twerking to your eyebrows. But anyhow, let's see. He says, if I run my signal through a mini disc recorder, how would I stop the audio loop from the interface on the way out from the PC and back into the interface? My question is, why are you running your signal through a mini disc recorder? Is that what you're using to record? Are you not using an audio interface to go into a PC or Mac? Is my question. So let me see. It says, what's your favorite part of making a song? My favorite part is just putting it together. For me, everyone has a different way they structure their song. For me, the drums, the way the rhythm of the drums that I'm going to put together is the motivator part, because I play a lot of, I'm a keyboard player. So I play a lot of chords. And sometimes I could be sitting there playing these chords and I'll come up with an idea. And then if I like the idea, then I'll sit there. Then the drum pattern will come to my mind. But I have to get the drum pattern down first, even though the chords gave me the idea. I have to get the chords, the drum pattern down to keep me motivated. Because if I don't get the drum beats down, I'll lose my momentum of the idea. So that's my favorite way of doing it. So I'll get the drums down, and because I'm gonna know the chords already, I'm gonna lay down the bass line. Right, I'm gonna play the actual bass or play it on the or I'm gonna play it up. I'm bumping the mic. So if I let me fix this. Okay, there we go. So I don't want to get all these booth. Okay, there we go. Because this is let me fix that right quick. Okay. I don't want to. I like to at least get the drums, bass, and keys down. I can get all the filler parts in later, like the strings or horns or fill lines or whatever I'm going to use. But I got to get the foundation down first, and then the words come to me. If I'm going to write the lyrics, they'll come to me as I'm thinking of the song, because then the song will inspire me to come up with what I want to talk about as far as the song. That's just me. Some people have a different way they like to do it. Some people like to create from, they might be playing the guitar or whatever and come up with the idea and lay the guitar. They might lay that part first down. Or some people just sing the vocals, but that's just the way I like to do it. So he said, let me see, man. So do you use a drum machine? Yeah, I got an MPC. I also use drum machines within the software. I used Reason's drum machine. One of them is called Kong. I use the drum machine called Impact in Studio One. Unfortunately, Cakewalk doesn't have a drum machine. Sometimes I'll play around with the drum stuff in Ableton Live, but I use my MPC. Other than that, for those type of, if I'm going to do like a house track or EDM track, that's mostly what I'll use. But if I'm going to use like regular drums, like, to have like a drum set, I'll use the drum kits off the software. Like, I might use like SI Drummer. I might use Slate's drum kit. I might use drum kits from the actual keyboards. They all come with, drum kits. So I'll lay those down as well. So just depends on what I'm trying to go for. So let me see what else we got. So okay. Dio says no. I have the audio Persona's audio box interface and a second generation Scarlett 2i2 that I'm not using yet. I may start recording soon, but I was looking for a cheap way to add harmonics and quality to. I'm just gonna say this to Dio on that Persona. I had a Persona's audio box, and I had a 2i2, and I'm gonna tell you honestly, I did not like either one of them. I think this is just my personal opinion. I would look to invest in a better interface. If you just want a 2-channel, because you're only recording, if you're only doing one or two things, you only need a 2-channel one. But I think you got to look at the UAs, the UA Vote, or there's the M Audio has a really one. Audience has a really nice audio interface, but I'm just not really big on Persona's audio box. That's just me. And I've had a couple of them. I've had those 2i2s, and the preamps, as they're great interface, but the preamps seem to fail in those. They probably fixed that for the newer generation audio 2i2s, but I'm just not really big on those. I think Mark of the Unicorn makes some really great interfaces. I have several of them. You don't have to go expensive like I have, like an Antelope. That's, she want to dish out that kind of money, but you probably just don't need that many inputs and outputs. So, but that's what I would do. That's just my opinion. Jay Production says, "What's up? Welcome, Jay. Welcome. I'm talking about hardware versus software. So let me see what else. So let me see what else we say. So L Summers, I ain't seen L in a minute. How you doing, L? Oh, you liking the Mixcraft 10? I still got Mixcraft 9. I play with it sometime. I really don't play with it a whole lot. But all these DAWs today, because let me tell y'all, if y'all someone's an FL Studio user, it used to be called Fruity Loops. Fruity Loops used to be kind of like I call it the Behringer name of, like with Behringer, Behringer kind of being that. FL Studio Fruity Loops used to be like that. They've improved FL Studio tremendously. Reason was kind of, even though I thought the concept of Reason, because it used to be Propellerhead, then they became Reason Studio. They were kind of iffy when they first started, even though I thought the concept was great of having, emulation of rack gear in a rack and all that. And you could turn around, look at back, and rearrange the cables and all that. But Reason Studios has gotten amazing. So let me see. I got a lot of comments coming in. Let me see. So El says he loves the machine. Let me see. Kevin, welcome, Kevin. Welcome to the live stream. He says, I got a friend that finished an album, but he says he's having difficulty mastering it. He's trying to get the songs as loud as the songs on the radio, but he's having difficulty in doing it. If he's having a difficulty, he does not do it, I would recommend, Louder or one of these mastering companies. Just, a lot of times they might charge as much as $25 a song, but sometimes it's worth it to have an actual expert mastering engineer master it. That will probably be the best bet to go that route. If he got a good recording and a good mix, just pay to get it mastered. And he'll be happy with it. Bobby says, what up? Welcome, Bobby. Welcome. Jay says, I'm also doing reggae and gospel. Sometimes got session players that don't own a drum kit, don't have the space yet. So a lot of guys, when they don't have the space for drums, they go and actually pay studio time to just get the drums done. And then they'll take the files back, and then they'll do their overdubs, they're dubbing, their overdub parts and add their parts at their homes. There are a lot of people that do that, believe it or not. A lot of people like me, I got a drum kit in the other room, but it's just, I can record the drums in here. I just don't. So, welcome Quest, says cheap and quality don't go together. Yeah, just it really depends on what you're buying. So because the difference of cheap versus, because there's a difference between cheap in price and cheap in quality. So cheap quality, yeah, versus just being, because you can buy a Neve cheap, which, and what I mean by that is, let's say you see a Neve VR 72. There's a Neve VR 72 that's $19,000. That console was dang near $1 million. So it defines on what you mean cheap, because that's cheap to buy. When they were $1 million, to only be 20 grand today. When they were $1 million, that's cheap. So it depends on what you're buying. Jay Production, I hate the Personas audio. Mine had hella distortion, moved to the Focusrite 1818. It's been the best. I might check out the Personas Quantum HD8. They seem to be the same. Like I said, I gave up on Personas. I gave up on their interfaces. I had an 1818 and I also had I think I still got it in the box. In my attic somewhere. When I went to the Antelope, I didn't look back. I just didn't. I just Antelope, and I started using Mark. I got like I said, I went to the Motus and the Antelopes. I'm not looking back. That's just me. So this, I haven't got into the Kong. I used to redrum a lot. You talking about Reason? I think my dim patterns are very simple and repetitive. Unfortunately, I have to learn how to use the Kong. It's not a hard. It's not a hard drum machine to learn. You just got to play with it and really learn what it all can do. But I prefer to use that. I guess because it's drum pad, just like with my anything with drum pads, just like with my MPC here. It's like with my Roland G's, my Roland Phantom G's have drum pads on it. My Roland Phantom S has drum pads on it. My Roland Phantom 6 has drum pads. It's even though other than doing drums on the keyboards, just to be able to hit the drum pads here, it's just to me, my workflow. That's just for me. So let me see, and then let me see. See. Dia said, "Are you into sampling? How often do you use your MPC? Have you learned any cool sampling techniques over?" I don't sample. I just create beats, and I'm gonna tell you why I don't really sample, because sampling, you got to be careful with sampling, because sampling can get you in trouble. This is where Pharrell was with the Neptunes. He ought to knew better. This is what got him and Pharrell and I forget his name. Anyhow, they end up paying $8 or $10 million to the rights for when they use that song, Blurred Lines. That's the extent of the same thing. That's what got MC Hammer in trouble for sampling. He sampled Can't Touch This when it was, she's very, that Rick James song. She's a very kiki girl. So you got to be careful with sampling, because sampling, you still got to get, it's copyrighted, because that's still copyrighted music, and you still got to get licensing to use those samples. So just be careful with those sampling. But yeah, sometimes my answers are long, but yeah, I don't really use samples. I sample my own stuff, because I can't get copyrighted for all that. I'll take some of that, or even if you do sample, make sure you sample in a way that it can't be copywritten. You got to really be careful with that. Let me see. I got, let me see. Okay. Yeah, Jay Producer, if FL Studio improved leaps and bounds. Yeah, because it used to be Fruity Loops. It used to be, people used to laugh at FL Studio, Fruity Loops. But now it's a beast of a DAW. I mean, it's a big tie between MPC, FL Studio, and those are probably the two number one hip hop software. And then some people use Ableton Live, and other people use Studio One, and some people use Pro Tools and other DAWs. But for hip hop, the MPC, Akai's MPC, because everyone's big on that the MPC 3000. Some people like the 2000. They still say those were probably the best MPCs with 3000, 2000s, and FL Studio. But because it's all about beat pattern. So let me see. It said, Mahar, have you ever recorded vocals through your console direct, and do you like the sound of it? The preamps in the console here, just like with my little MX 8000 downstairs, the Allen Heath has decent preamps, but because I have like my Altrons, which are Neve style, I got the Universal 610, my Avalon's there, and just all those, even the MPA, that Art MPA Pro 2000 Part 2 or Pro version 2. Once I record the vocals through that, I can't use these I just don't use them. I'm not saying that it's bad. I've never tried to use them. It just because I just like the outboard. But as far as the console, as far as sound coming through the console itself, Yeah, that's why I got it. Just running my signal through these, and just sometimes the EQ on this console and just running through here is enough for a lot of stuff. So I hope that makes sense. Let me see. Oh, you said, talking about as far as, I think it was talking about mastering when I was talking about mastering. Let me see. Oh, Jason, well, damn, I wouldn't look back in if I went in. Yeah, I'm just, that thing was 32. Yeah, it's worth what it, because you get the best amount of input. But that's because I don't like really mixing sometimes for what I'm looking for. I don't really want to mix through just a 2-channel interface. When you run across the channels of, if I got 24 channels going through here, you can really hear it. And the Antelope was the best bang for the buck to give you the channel count. To get that type of high-end AD to DA conversion and run it through the console and then implement the outboard gear, I'm gonna have to do another video, let y'all hear that. I'm gonna have to do a recording, let y'all hear that. So we got and then let me see. Man says I use the Antelope Galaxy in all my studios. See, that's the Antelope's. That's their number one high-end interface. Yep. Andre says good night to all. I don't know if you said good night like it's nighttime, or you saying good night like you're out. So, or you saying good night or good evening, But welcome, Andre. Matthew S says, hey, welcome to Matt. As I'm saying, Matty 2, or is it Matey 2 hats? Matty 2, just let me know if I'm saying that right. Hey, welcome, Matty. So Andre says sampling is a lawsuit waiting. Yeah, like I said, you got to be careful with sampling. Robin Thicke. Yeah, that's right. Robin Thicke. Yeah, it was Pharrell and Robin Thicke on that. That was an expensive lawsuit because they never got it cleared. And I'm like, for Pharrell to be in the business, they know. I have to do a video. Okay, for those that don't know, for those that maybe a lot of people don't know, you must do this. These are things that you should do if you're going to be an artist and you're going to start putting your music and all out there. One, you definitely want a license. You want to get licensed with a PRO. Either CSAC. CSAC is a harder one to get, but BMI and ASCAP. That's just the performance rights that you want to register with and sign up with. You also want to sign up with Mechanical Rights Organization. This is the one that people forget about. They'll say they'll do the PRO, the performance rights. So that's when your stuff is being played on the radio, in a game. They might use it in a movie or whatever. But you're selling your stuff, even if it's digitally being sold. If you don't have a mechanical rights, if you're not registered with that, you're missing out on a lot of royalties. You definitely want to start your own artist. You want to separate your personal account and get you an artist or producer's bank account. So all that money going there. You definitely want to get you an LLC. You definitely want to register. It used to be Nielsen Sound Scan. So product is being sold. You want to register with that. So that way you get your UPC, your IRSC codes, all that, so they can track the sales. This is what's report to Billboard. This is how they know what's selling, so they know what's charting. You definitely want to do that. You also want to register with Sound Exchange for digital. And you definitely want to start your own artist page, producer page. You can use Wix or whatever. There's a lot of stuff that when artists get on these labels, they would sign a contract and then the record label would do all that. But being everyone's somebody independent, there's a lot of stuff you want to do. So Jay Production says 90% of modern hip hop, urban rap, ECT is made with FL Studio. Yeah, even dance. I wouldn't say 90%. because I see a lot more people using MPCs. So it probably is more of a 50-50 because there are a lot of people I know use MPCs for hip hop. So like Young Guru is, he's the one that did a lot of tracks for 50 Cent, Jay-Z, Kanye West, you name it, Lil Wayne, Master P, a lot of Atlanta rappers, Ludacris and all those guys. He's using the MPC, and MPC is a beast. So, but I would say FL Studio, between FL Studio and MPC, those are the number ones. Then you got there's a lot of people making trap and dubstep on Ableton Live. So, but a lot of that can be done live. You can do a lot of that even in Studio One. It just depends on what they want to use. So let me see. Kevin said, as a user limiter, there are programs that you can, like Lufus reading. Okay, they just, okay. Matthew said, I ordered a Roswell mic today. Has anyone? I've never heard of Roswell mics. I have to look into that. Deal says, I should have been learning FL Studio, but man, it's super uncomfortable going from the Reason Studio to Let me tell you, on FL Studio, if you're not familiar with FL Studio, for those that are not familiar with FL Studio, I'm not talking about the ones that are familiar with FL Studio, just the ones that are not. FL Studio is a learning curve because when you pull it up, a lot of times they pull up, you'll have your, you can, once you create your pattern, you can actually drag it over into, it's kind of like making your complete pattern before you build your song. But it's a learning curve. I haven't mastered FL Studio yet but they have one screen. I forget. It's where you can get all your instruments are. I forget the name of I forget what it's called. But it's a learning curve because a lot of times you have to know what all the icons do. I'm not an expert at it. I very, very rarely, if I can speak, I very rarely use FL Studio. So it's one of those DAWs I'm not proficient at because it's such a learning curve compared to all the other DAWs. I can look at like Mixcraft or Mix, here's some Mixbus or FL or Ableton Live, Reason, Cakewalk, Pro Tools, Logic, all those programs. I can get in and get going. I can look at it and okay, I see what's going on. Bitwig, all those are easy. FL Studio is just a different type of learning curve. But I would say if you get on DL, if you master Reason Studio, it's plenty. You can do everything you need to do in Reason Studio. Reason Studio is also a beast of a. So I wouldn't worry about having to worry about FL Studio. Yes, you want to learn it. They do. You can download it. They do let you try for free. So let me see. Karen said AI music is one big copyright lawsuit. Wait, now, let me tell you, Rick Beato just did a thing. He's been talking about the AI problem. I was watching a video he did. I watched a video that he did 3 months ago, and he said his kids could hear that it was an AI. He said there's something weird with the way the voice was sounding. Even though when he was playing it, they sound like normal human voices singing. But he said, and the kid said, you can't hear it? I couldn't even hear it. He said, no, I can't. That's how realistic these AI songs sounded. But he said his kids said to watch in about 6 months, they won't be able to tell. That's anything when they advance any software and technology. Let me tell you, it's going to be scary because when I was listening to what I was listening to, I was scary. I couldn't believe those weren't real people. And I'm like, I'm going to tell you right now, as far as for people like us that are into music and content and we're creating our stuff, I don't think I want a computer trying to replace what I do. I just don't. I'm like, well, I might as well just give up everything and Go give me a rocking chair. I'm not, if they're gonna let AI start dominating the market like that, they're already starting to do it where a lot of AI, that's where you see all the CGI in movies. They got they're doing some crazy stuff with AI generation now in film. They're making these characters, but if they're doing that with film, imagine with music. It's kind of like if you're a guitar player, musician, they're like, well, I don't need you. I can just get AI to play your parts. Like, really? That's the problem with it, but let me see. Oh, let me see. It's got so many comments coming in. Okay, man says I'm a friend with Matt Glenn of Roswell Audio. I got a bunch of his stuff. Great mics. Okay, like I said, I'm not familiar with Roswell. It's over 150 different mic companies. So like I said, I'm gonna look into Roswell. Because I was just like I said, you got. Don't get me started naming all these mics. See, I mean, Shure, Warm Audio, Telefunken, Newman, Biodynamics. There is Audio Universal. There is MXL. I mean, just the list is astronomical as far as mic. So, Mic Tech makes some awesome mics. There's so many out there. Suyos. There is Blue. There is just it's ridiculous. It's over 150 something mic companies. And then Jason, I'm telling you, bro, you should check out the PreSonus Quantum HD. You'll be surprised. No, why would I do when I got an antelope? No. I mean, I'm not knocking PreSonus. I'm not knocking PreSonus, but no, that wouldn't make, that's like when I got an antelope, that wouldn't, yeah. So, Maddie, okay, saying you was correcting me on it. I just want to make sure I was saying it right, Man Network says problem with PreSonus drops product support on all their stuff after a couple of. I made a video on this. I mean, it's kind of like I don't know why PreSonus. They were making. It's kind of now I get. They were changing their like, for example, their live mixers, and I get it. Macs update, PCs Mac update, with the port system, you got USB 2, you got USB 3, you had Thunderbolt. So so they would, instead of like making an edition, like a second edition, let's say you got a PreSonus Live, and then you come out with PreSonus Live edition 2, or they just, we made this PreSonus Live, we're just going to discontinue it. And they'll come up with a whole new live simply because of one for Thunderbolt. Then they'll just discontinue that because now one's USB 3. And I'm like, and that seemed to be like majority of all their products. And once they put in their discontinue list, you can't get support for it. It's like, well, we don't because it's discontinued, we don't do support it no more. And I'm like, that was kind of like a turnoff to me because I use Studio One software. I'm like, and here's another thing that did not make sense to me. It's kind of like you can get the Behringer X32 or the Yamaha TFs or series or the Allen and Heath QU or the Midas or whatever, any of those digital mixers. And most will hook up and you can use it as a DAW controller through USB. PreSonus, you cannot hook up to and control it in the software through USB. You got to go through network. I don't like that. Makes no sense. That PreSonus Studio One should be proprietary to the digital mixer because it's kind of like the fader port I got, and now my fader port sitting here. Your Studio One recognizes it immediately, but your mixer doesn't. That makes no sense. I don't understand PreSonus's thinking. It's like their best preamp they've never made was the ADL 600 and the ADL 700, and they discontinued it. And that preamp, we're talking about a preamp that's now we're on the same level with the Universal Audio 610 that I got, the Avalons that I got. You know, these are on the same level with Neves and other. This is a Class A tube circuit preamp, and they discontinued it. I'm like, Avalon's been making the same 737, and it's still a hot seller. They've been making that since the late 90s, and it's still a hot seller. Those things are still $2,000 to $3,000. They've been making the same. You know, Avalon has 6 basic products that they sell, and they sell. They're a hot commodity in the pro commercial studio market. Whether you like their 737 channel strip, you're gonna like their 2044 opto compressor, their 2055. I gotta sneeze. Excuse me. Their 2055 or their EQ. You'll see a lot of Avalon products, and not everyone likes Avalon, but you'll see Avalon. And there have been too many studios I haven't seen that didn't have an Avalon product. But going back to Persona, that's what really kind of turned me off on buying their any more product, because I got 2 of their Persona Studio channels. You probably see right there under my console. Those are Persona Studio channels. Those are great. I also have a little Bluetooth, you know, Personas. The very first preamp I've ever bought was a Personas 2 pre. I got it downstairs. So they make great products, but you know, they make great products, but I just don't like the way they discontinue their stuff. So let me see. We got more stuff coming in and more comments. Let me see. Jay Producer, it wasn't assembled to get clear. The Marvin Gaye state finessed Judge Kneen. Nothing about the music. Even third party expert who brought into the case pointed out it wasn't assembled. I don't, because there's this thing called with the Marvin Gaye thing. With the Marvin Gaye thing, you know, he got this song. Marvin Gaye made this song probably in like 78, 77. It's like, I want to party and to see. I forget the name of the name of the song. But and with Blurred Lines, hey, Blurred Lines, hey, that I don't hear, and I'm a musician. I didn't hear the distinctive, but evidently they won. I don't know how they lawyers put off, but they won based on how something would sample, sampling. The same thing that's what killed Vanilla Ice, because he, ding, 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 ding. He tried to justify it when he in an interview when they were saying, well, your song sound like the group. The group made this song. And he was like, well, theirs go ding, 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 ding. Ours go ding, 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 ding. Like that little ding was a little difference. And they were blatantly, obviously the same. So, and that's not the only, I'm just naming between just those. There's been a lot of that, believe it or not, that's what killed them. If you ever heard this female, her name is Truth Hurts. Dr. Dre was producing this female named Truth Hurts. And I honestly, as amazing singer Truth Hurts, I think that she should have had, I think Truth Hurts, because it was Dr. Dre, I think Truth Hurts her career would have elevated further had she got producers like Babyface or Jimmy Jam, or she had gotten Teddy Riley, the producer. I think her career would have been, because she's an amazing singer, and she had a mature voice for what she was doing. But they sampled this indie song, and the Truth Hurts. They brought in Rakim, the rapper, the rap portion on it. It's called Addicted. And if you ever go and get a chance to go on YouTube and look up Truth Hurts Addicted, they put it back on YouTube because they had shut it down. But that because they sampled that, they got sued, so they had to pull the track. So you gotta be, like I said, you gotta be careful with sampling. Make sure your samples are cleared, and you start using them. But he said, okay, Jay was saying, Studio One. Let me see. Oh, man says FL Studio is also a good VR. Yeah, virtual recording studio. Studio One. All the. I don't have anything bad to say about any DAW. I really don't. I got majority of them. I got nothing bad because they all. I just think that some DAWs have more tools that you can use than others. But then it's only depends if you need to use those tools. Like for example, for example, Studio One has loops, but you might not need to use any of those loops that Studio One offers. Same thing with Ableton Live. Ableton Live has loops in it. You may not want to use a loop. You might want to create your own complete from scratch music production. You're going to do everything yourself. That's what makes all these DAWs great. Mixcraft, you got instruments in there. A lot of them have instruments in them. Pro Tools is the only one that doesn't have a whole lot of instruments because Pro Tools is more of editing and production and mixing software more than anything. So let me see what else we got. More comments. I got comments coming in. I appreciate everyone tuning in. I really do. Really do appreciate everyone tuning in. IRC, J Productions, the ISRC, and Join Sound Exchange, and Tay MLLC. Like I said, if you got your music and you want to distribute your music, and Sound Exchange, and Sound Exchange is free to register. You should be doing that. Nielsen SoundScan is now called Luminate. So you got Luminate, which used to be Nielsen SoundScan. So if you're going to still sell CDs or any media like that, you want to definitely register with Luminate. And then also, like I said, Sound Exchange, because most people buy everything digitally to download it. Quest says, if you can splurge on one piece, what piece in your recording chain is most important when trying to achieve quality sound? One piece. You'd be better off getting at least, I would say, a channel strip. If you don't want to get a preamp, a separate compressor, and a separate EQ, get a nice channel strip in your chain, because you can still use the EQ and the compressor in that, as well as the preamp, before you go into your interface to go into your DAW. You don't have to splurge on a super expensive microphone, but let me tell you that a really nice preamp will make even $100 mic. You can buy a Behringer B1, and that nice preamp will make that B1 shine over buying a $3,000 microphone and just trying to use a really low end preamp. And like I said, a low preamp will definitely, it can get you through. Definitely gets you through. But if you really want some nice sound, you want your vocals to sound like what's coming out of a commercial pro studio, that's what they're doing. They're running through a nice signal chain, which is usually a preamp, some sort of EQ, and compressor. Mostly a preamp, a really nice preamp, and a really nice compressor. A lot of times, this is the reason why a 1073 and a 2-Tech CLB, or a 1073 and an LA2A, or it can even be a 610 and something, but the 610 already has a preamp on it. It has the universal, it has components of the LA2A in it, or the 1176, or some sort of vocal chain like that. That would be the key thing for vocals. Like I said, you can get away with using modelers. If you play your guitar direct into your interface and then into your DAW, you can use amp modelers. That's what everyone's doing. Got Amplitude by IK Multimedia. There's a lot of them. But vocals, that fat warmth that you're hearing, your vocal chain is a key. So let me see if that answered your question. Let me see. We got some more. Okay, let me see. I got some more questions. Let me see, because I got so much. I got a lot. I'm lost where I'm at. Okay. I mean, I think I'm missing someone's Jay. I'm literally scratching my head to set up a Thunderbolt Sad Storage unit right now. He's just laughing. All these, yeah, it's it's a lot. Let me see. Man, was there either Oglepix? Okay, what? Yeah, did I miss Oglepix? Hey, Oglepix. Oglepix. Missed you. Okay. Kern said at FL Studio UI is tiny. Laughing out loud. Studio One can do almost anything. Yeah, like I said, FL Studio to me is a learning curve. Studio One, I can get up and going like that, so that's why I use Studio One, because I just love the workflow of Studio One. But there are people that love FL Studio, so I can't knock it. Deal say your truth hurt. Yeah, like I said, that song Addicted, I love that song. But that she got that because they're Indian. They sampled that and they got it in her. That's what got them in trouble. Let me see. The Persona stream just ended. It's great to have you on. You probably have to put on a few more on your show, even better. Of course, with other content creator. Yeah. Oh, you're talking about, yeah. Let me see. Vanilla Ice won in the long run. He bought the Queen song and gets paid for both. Yeah. So, well, you've seen Vanilla Ice now. He ain't doing too bad, but yeah, that was shaky, Ice, baby. So let me see. Yes, it was ruled too close of an interpolation of gate. Yeah, just to me. Sometimes, with these, sometimes I think some of these lawsuits are frivolous. I think some of these lawyers, because lawyers can be, like anything. Lawyers, just like business, bad business practice. Lawyers can be scandalous, just like a lot of, shady business people. And you got to watch lawyers, man. And that's why they always just, the first thing they do when they get out of law school, when they can't, be a trial lawyer, or they don't get into like health or medicine law or whatever, or, whatever the case may be. That's why you see most of them, Wynn, Smarts, and Benson, attorneys. Have you been hurt in an accident? Because that's one of the easier ones to get into. Call us, Hertz, Wynn, and Benson, whatever they are. They always team up, to try to go after these insurance companies for these insurance claims, hurt in an accident. And then they want to, they people get scammed by that because they take so much money of the accident victims' money in retainer fees and everything else. And we won't collect unless you win. It's just lawyers or something else. Let me see what else you got. Laid Back. Oh, welcome back, Laid Back Beats composer. Like I said, there's a lot of people, welcome. I appreciate everyone tuning in. I got a lot of people today. I appreciate y'all all tuning in on live stream. So DJ Crit produced that Dr. Dre signed Truth Hurts. That is, I know. I forgot about DJ Quick because I was so used to DJ Quick when he was rapping. I forgot he went into production. He produced a lot of acts. DJ Quick was behind the scenes on a lot of acts. I did forget about DJ Quick. But yeah, that Truth Hurts, and it hurt. It hurt Truth. The truth does hurt when it comes to this music thing. So, but that was my girl right there. I wish she had teamed up with Teddy. I think Teddy, as the kind of singer that she was, I think even Chucky Booker and Al B. Shore, or Dallas Austin, a lot of those producers, I think they would have I think Truth Hurts would have just, because I think they would have done the right music production for her, for the kind of singer she was. Sometimes, I'm not knocking a lot of hip hop producers, but sometimes when you're a certain type of singer, sometimes you need a good R&B producer, to produce, to get you some tracks. It's kind of like with Beyonce, even though Beyonce kind of, she, like I love when Beyonce did when they did the track you know, that's I forget. I'm getting old, so I forget some of these and then when she did Naughty Girl, that, you know, and one of my favorite songs by Beyonce is actually Love on Top. You know, kind of singer Beyonce is, but you know her being, you know, a lot of her influence because her husband's Jay-Z. And so Beyonce to me is kind of is going to be kind of, so I mean, I got more let me see, I got more. I'm missing so much statements coming in. Let me see more comments. Let me see. Similar Spice. I just don't use it. Don't care. Like I say, I'm not a big FL Studio user. To me, I like DAWs that I don't like DAWs that have learning curves like that. I like DAWs that I can look at it, and I judge a DAW by how the mixing console is going to flow like an analog console. I'm just old school like that. And FL Studio's mixing console is a little, I mean, it's got faders, but, you know, compared like with Cubase and the other DAW's mixers, I just, you know, especially with Reaper and the Reaper themes. I got my Reaper theme. I got a thing that my mixer looks like a Neve console. I just like that workflow. But that's just me. But if you're an FL Studio and you love it, I would, you know, and you're good at it, I wouldn't stop using it. It's working for you. That's just me. DL said, what is the most powerful DAW? And like I said, when it comes to these DAWs, all of them can be powerful. Like now, like me, everyone knows by now I'm a heavy Cakewalk user. It's a powerful DAW because it does a lot of stuff. But so does, you know, it really depends on how you like the workflow. If the workflow, that's what can make a DAW powerful. How efficient can you get in that, you know, workflow? Because in the end, when you're done with any music that you've done in your DAW, and you finally get everything the way you sound it the way you want, and you print your final master, and it comes out sound amazing, that's all that really matters. I don't think one is significantly better than the other. It's just that you have to look at these different DAWs. That's why I say try all these different DAWs, even if you try the trial version, see how you like the workflow. Try FL Studio. You might like the workflow. Try Ableton Live. You might like the workflow. You may not like the workflow. And if you don't like the workflow, you're not going to like the DAW. But if you like the workflow and create in it, it can become powerful because you're like, oh, I like the way this works, and you know, and I can do what I need to do. But that's all I can say on that. Let's say EA. Welcome, EA. Welcome. Like I said, welcome. Can you discuss the variation of drivers and interfaces that are and their variations in actual sound quality? I would say this on the interfaces. This is just my thoughts on this. I don't think the sound quality is any. You can buy a Behringer 2-channel Euphoria. Most of them using the same converter chips. The only really significant differences between, like, let's say you buy a Mark or a Unicorn, a Lynx Aurora, Apogee Symphony, Antelope, and audio is a lot of them are giving you more, you know, like there's Universal Audio, like the Apollo. They're giving you more input and output channel count. A lot of them are going to come. Some of them come with a little bit better in preamps, but most of them have internal DSP processing. So you can go in there, you know, and implement some of their plugins on the sound without tacking down your PC or Mac's CPU and RAM. And that's really the only significant really differences that you're going to hear in sound quality Um, other than that, I would say there, of course, the really, really cheap ones. It ain't so much of the converters that makes a lot of these budget interfaces not really that great to me. It's that you got to understand it's kind of like you buy a $99 interface, but it's going to come with mic pre's, converters, and everything else in it. They are sacrificing some components. This is the reason why some interfaces that are 1,500, 2,000, 3,000, this is they're just using better components. The best way I can describe it, I'll say one more other thing about this, and I'll look at some more comments. The biggest component failure in electronics is electrolytical capacitors. The reason why 90% of all these manufacturers use electrolytical capacitors is because they can mass produce them and make millions of them at a lower cost than to use like ceramic or film capacitors. That's it. So you have a higher quality capacitors, better components, they're going to last longer, but it costs more, so they charge more. That's the best way I can describe it. So that's why, some of these higher end interfaces, they got better components in it. That's why, between a class B or class D or class AB or class A, it's the type of components in it. I hope that makes sense. So let me see. What else? Did I miss some stuff? So we got more. Let me see. I missed some comments. Wow, I done missed so many comments. Okay. So yes, he says, is there a preamp for stereo in and out? There are 2-channel preamps. Because if you get a single channel preamp, like one channel, like just a single preamp, for example, that PreSonus Bluetooth, you can link both channels together and send the signal. You just have to hit the stereo link on it. Or I can do the same thing with these. You can't see it. They're called the ART Pro MPA2s. You can stereo link those together and get a stereo signal. But that's the only way I can see you can do that, to get your preamp stereo out. Some interfaces you probably can do it. I've never seen too many interfaces that can do it. So if anyone want to chime in on that, just let me know. Let me see what else. Let me see. Oh, Maddie says, I love to get an 1176 next. If you're looking to get 1176 and you don't want to, and you don't want to spend $2,000-$3,000, look at the Lindale Audio. They're called Lin 76s. I got them in the rack here. Look at those. Great 1176 replica, and won't break the bank. Okay, we got Muslim style. What is a good 31 band EQ? There's quite a few. Ashley makes some. Ashley being spelled ASHLY. There's Rain. There's those a couple when I think of mine. I'm sure there's more out there. I got I don't think that they're Behringer's EQs can. I got a couple of them, but they can be a little bright and tinny, so I can't really recommend Behringer's 31 band EQ. Now I'm trying to you want 31 band EQ. I'm trying to because if you know what those are notch filters, and that's basically what they are. You're only boosting, cutting a specific frequency. And most of them start like 20. They'll typically go frequency. They usually go typically 20 hertz, 40 hertz, 60 hertz, 100 hertz, 150, 200 hertz, 300 hertz, 500, 800, 1000, 1500, 2K, 3K, 5K, 8K, 10K, 12K, 16K, and then 20K is typical frequencies that you can boost or cut. That's a typical band notch filtering, or what we call not a parametric, but we call a graphic EQ. So Jay says, "Hey Mark, I noticed you have 3,000 subscribers on your channel. Monetized. If you don't mind me asking, how long did it take?" Actually, my channel's not monetized, so I don't monetize my channel because I would really. It's bad enough. Well, I noticed what YouTube did now. Before, how they used to do it was they would if you monetize your channel, they would flood your channel with tons of ads. But YouTube is like this. I don't care if you monetize or not. I'm gonna put ads on your channel anyway. So if I notice that some of my videos, they start getting 100 plus more views, they throw ads on it anyway. So it's not monetized. But as far as 3,000 subscribers, I started this channel in 2015. I started with just one. So of course, like we all start with one subscriber. It went up to 1,000. I had a whole bunch of. I probably had about 100 videos that I deleted. My very first video was called "The Real Truth About the Music Industry," and I made that video talking about how shady the music industry is. That's why I'm so passionate about it. When people start talking about blaming things, the wrong things, trying to use that as an excuse as to what's wrong with the music industry. Like y'all probably seen my video about, I went this big long rant about, it was easy to say it ain't Pro Tools the problem. It's the way the music industry, and because he was blaming Pro Tools for all this non-talent and how people get in the industry that shouldn't be or whatever. And I'm like, there's people have been in the industry that shouldn't have been in the industry. So I didn't really, and it's still a long time, it's the way it is. I don't know. I think it depends on how YouTube's algorithm is, but I didn't start seeing my first 1,000 until 5 years later. And I was putting out content on how to play keys and everything else, and it just nothing was working. But I think the thing is YouTube, unless you monetize your channel, they wouldn't let your algorithm get seen by people. But I think now the way YouTube doing it now, I think is just people are just randomly coming across these videos, and they come across mine, and people, they either like the content or don't. The people that like it, a lot of people subscribe. So I would say it's 2024 now, but 9 years. So it took me 9 years to get to 3,000. So that's why I'm amazed at some people that have 10,000 subscribers, 15,000 subscribers. And a part of it is my fault. I wasn't consistent. A lot of times I was making videos, then it'd be a month, 2 or 3 months, and I make a video. It's because I was working. I was doing all these side hustles with working on cars and everything else. So I'm trying to be more consistent. That way people, because they said that was my problem. I was not consistent enough. So, and I hope that answers your question. Jay says, when it comes to sampling crimes, Timbaland pulled it off. Yeah. Well, sampling it's how you do it. If you can chop up, because in the MPC, you can chop up, you can do that in any DAW. You can do that in any regular DAW, chop up a sample. You can take a waveform and chop it down. But if you can chop up a sample where it's not recognizable, it's the reason why I was really, because, even though I had the rights to do my Mariah Carey remix, I uploaded it and it got flagged for copyright, even though I had the rights to do it, simply because it was a remix and it was done through, it's called Splice now. It used to be called Indaba Music. And even though they had the rights to do it, they still flagged the video. So I had to pull the Mariah Carey remix back out. That's why I couldn't let people hear. And everyone, the people that did get a chance to hear the full version, they're like, man, I like that better than the original. But so let me see. Give some, and well, you gotta remember Timbaland, you gotta watch Timbaland. That's all I can say about Timbaland. You just got to watch them. Let me see. DL says, do you write off plugins, VSTs, etc. on your taxes? How much does they help bottom line of music business as an independent? Let me tell you, I don't write off plugins because I don't, technically when you get plugins, you don't own them. You get a license to use them, even though you're buying them. But that's why a lot of times you got to get licenses to buy them. But I don't know how you could write that off on your taxes. The only thing I can see when it comes to is if you're doing music production and you made money from doing music production for artists, you may be able to claim that on taxes, but I don't see how you can claim plugins on taxes. I just don't see how that will work. They see Jake, those lawyers are called ambulance. Let me tell you, watch Lawyers. So personal injury lawyers. That's why you see all the, they always on. It's about as bad as y'all probably knows by now. All these Medicare and Medicaid, all these different, you probably see this, they're flooding the market with all these Medicare commercials and all that. Yeah, that's not by accident. There's always a scam behind the ad, if that makes sense. I don't know. Like you said, Bobby says, I don't think Marvin was live. He would have sued, rather take it as a compliment. I don't know. You got to remember, Rick James sure didn't take MC Hammer as a compliment, so, and Rick James was making money from Super Freak and everything else, Give It To Me Baby and all those songs, Fire and Desire. He was already making money with him and working with Tina Marie and he was working with Eddie Murphy, even though that song was Party All the Time wasn't a good song. Eddie Murphy, that wasn't Eddie's forte. But Rick James would work with a lot of people in the business. He was on the same tour with Prince, even though him and Prince used to get it. But man says I write off everything in the studio. It makes a huge difference. Overhead effects, price, monkey back of taxes, LST. Like I said, I've never written them off, but like I said, I never done it, but there's a way. If there's a will, there's definitely a way. Single ladies. Okay, let me move on. Let's see. Dangerous in Love. Oh, you talking about with I think you're talking about the Beyonce. Jay Protect said, go to be trying out Logic Pro soon. I have an older version of Logic Pro. It's also it's a solid DAW. I got to update my Mac to get the newer Logic. That's why I have older Logic, because I'm still running 10,13 because I got High Sierra, and you got to have 10,15 or higher now. Everything's got, so I got to have Monterey or, when the newest one, Sonoma, they got a new one now. They coming out with Sequoia or something like that. They just coming out with, but and a High Sierra is not going to cut it now. So my Mac is old. It's old. Well, yeah. Beats like this says Beyonce Single Ladies copy Emery's This One Thing song and stole her whole style. To me, they had a big thing on Amerie, because Amerie, everyone knows, if you know who Amerie is half black, half Korean. Sexy looking female. She had this song, It's This One Thing, and it's like, and it really wasn't Beyonce that stole Single Ladies. It was Beyonce's producers. Because remember, Beyonce don't create music. Beyonce just sings the music that's created for her. And she just agrees with the producers to do the songs. Single Ladies, all my single ladies, because, This One Thing was kind of had that go-go thing to it. If you're from the DC area, that go-go is a big Washington DC thing. That's a popular thing with the go-go. It's, it's a go-go thing. And you'll be amazed. That's why a lot of times when I like me, I don't even like. It's like when you're putting your music out there, a person like me who can create music can also replicate music. It's like when I played in bands, when you play in a band and you listen to a track, you're just as a cover band, you're redoing what you hear in a cover band. So if I can hear it, I can reproduce it, especially if I'm playing the keyboard parts or whatever. So if I'm hearing stuff and it gives me an idea, let me kind of steal that and get a little twist on it. And you'd be surprised how many people do that. That's why you got to be careful putting your things out there. There was that's why I saw a crazy channel. This guy asking this guy, talking about, send me 100 beats. Why would I send you 100 beats? He's probably going to steal one of the ideas. He don't necessarily have to steal the song. He can steal the idea. So that's where that whole thing come from with this one thing in the single ladies in a nutshell. And it kind of, Beyonce was really getting her start after she left Beyonce, with, Dangerous in Love and all that. I'll Be Your Naughty Girl and all that. Beyonce was really blowing up, but those producers, and it's kind of like Amerie just kind of fell through the cracks because I actually like this one thing over single ladies. A lot of women like to tell me should have, should have put a ring on it, but the video's captivating. You watch this, Beyonce, All My Single Ladies, the video, the way they did the video. Just like what people like with that song. I'm not big on that Beyonce song with the, Texas Hold'em. That just, to me, I'm just, people are probably going to put hate. They're going to hate for me, but I think Texas Hold'em is a corny country and western song knockoff. Because all of a sudden, she did a commercial. She takes off her clothes and wearing a cowboy. Now what? Beyonce gone country now? When you have all the country and western artists like Miranda Lambert and Carrie Underwood and Trisha Yearwood and Martina McBride. I mean, these people that's their going all the way back to Dolly Parton and, and the Judds and just going, really, being an R&B singer is not, and I don't know. Maybe I'm just blowing some out of proportion. I just don't, Beyonce to me just she's not a country singer. She's an R&B singer. It's just that's just me. Maine says, what do you think? He's asking me, what do I think about Luna? Awesome DAW. They're still working the bugs out of it, but I think it's an awesome DAW. If you want to start exploring into a DAW like that, yes. And it's free. You got PC or Mac, it's free. Yes, I got Luna on here. Really good DAW. Like I said, it still got some kinks in it because it's new, but I think Luna is going to be just as powerful as any other DAW, like Pro Tools or Studio One or any of the rest of them, Logic, Reaper. So yeah, that's all I can say about Luna. Let me see. Wow. Let me see. Wow, I'm missing so much. Did I miss all these? Good night. I don't know where I'm at now. I didn't know it was that many came through. Wow, let me see. Like Bobby said, I've been on Fruity Loops for 20 plus years. I'm never leaving. So like I said, some people like FL Studio. I think like I said, all of them are powerful. Let me see. Like I said, Jay said Behringer, ooh, gross. Just kidding. Maybe not. Like I said, I don't get into those Behringer. I don't get into those Behringer comments anymore because, I just don't. Let Let's see. Andre says, I use Nuendo with Reason Studio and DaVinci Resolve for video editing, and I'm comfortable with those. But I would not say it can. But I would not say it can be only done this way. Yes, like a lot of them. So let me move on down because I'm missing all kinds of comments. Let's see. Oh, Maxie, yeah, I've been looking at the lens. Yeah, try it out. Try it out. I got two of them. I got their EQs and I also got the LA2A style down here. So I got quite a few Lindale audio products. I have no complaints. Let's see. Let me see. See what else am I missing? Let me scroll down some more. Oh, Dre. I said, do you believe Diddy is guilty? And do you believe the music industry has a lot of things that go on in the background that is hidden? That let me tell you, I've all I said, and I made a video about this. Diddy is a result of the dark side of the industry. Period. You know, because a lot of times when you get it, whether you're an athlete, an actor, a musician, a producer, you're all tied into that entertainment, and they all go to these underground parties, and you know, just like a whole thing with Bill Cosby and the Quaalude thing, they've been doing that stuff since the 40s. This is well way before Bill Cosby, where you know actors have been, you know, drugs, and you know this is the reason why so many actors and musicians were on, you know, at one time the 40s. What was it back in the 40s? You know, it was what was it? Not cocaine, but it was more like what's the drug you put in your arm? I can't, you know. Anyhow, heroin. They nothing changed. You know, they were doing the same thing. You know, all them women in parties. They ain't nothing changed since the 30s and 40s. The drugs just changed. You know, and all that. And you know, Rick James. You know, you talk about P. Diddy. Rick James got, you know, kidnapped the girl. He kidnapped this blonde chick and had her tied up for a year. He had to serve time for that. The same thing. James Brown did that crap too. You know, when they start, Rick James. Finally said cocaine's a hell of a drug. In other words, when you high, you don't have no comments. You don't know what you're doing. You know, it's kind of like Whitney Houston getting, you know, stuck on. You know, when he became a cocaine addict, that it wasn't by accident. The same thing with Billie Holiday, getting and Sarah Vaughan and Felix Fitzgerald and all them. They get introduced them to drugs and all them. You know, Ray Charles and Smokey Robinson and Shaka Khan and all these. They get them hooked on drugs. That's another controlling thing. So as far as me thinking he's guilty, I also have to be careful with the media because the media does a very good job of what they call popular guilt. It's like the media can make you believe someone is guilty at something without ever having any evidence because they know 90% of people will just believe what the media puts out and won't do any research, or they don't have access to research real evidence to see whatever a person's accused of is actually true. So they know this. This is how they get people. This is how they win elections. You know, whether you was Trump and Obama, or whether you was, you know, Biden or Trump, or whatever you believe in, whatever, you know, or Kamala Harris or Trump, or, you know, or if you're, you know, even if it was, you know, Reagan or Nixon, or, you know, Reagan or Bush or Clinton or whatever, you know, politics. And most people, they do this by design to get you focused on the president and most people don't even think about what the governor's doing in their state, or the mayors, or the city council. Well, that's your New York mayors or DC mayor. If you're a major, you know, highlight like that, then they're looking at you. But most people can't even name their city council. But they know they can name the president. I'm like, well, don't you know your city council is what affects local laws, not the president? You know, they come up with law says you got to turn, you know, you can't run your whatever in this particular part of town. That ain't come from the president. That came from your city council mayor. Came up with that law. So we get stuck in these politics. But anyhow, let me get back to the guilty. So do I think he's guilty? I don't know, because I don't trust the media. But do I think he had influence, being a billionaire like he is and be influenced? And of course, the video of he beating that girl and all that, he's sure damn looking guilty. The same thing with R. Kelly and the peeing on girls. Now R. Kelly is, P. Diddy is basically getting convicted for the same thing that R. Kelly. If you look at it, R. Kelly, holding girls captive and all that, that's why R. Kelly's in jail now. And he ain't the only one. They've been doing that crap in Hollywood. They've been doing all kinds of crazy crap. It's a dark side. So that's why you gotta be careful of it. So man, let me see. So man, it says this Dre, a lot of underhanded things happen in the music industry. Some stuff I heard people say studies, I'll never repeat, like FBI opened up, stuff like let me tell you about it's kind of like some of these artists hadn't even been exposed. Like to me, okay, I'll look at how it's kind of like when you look at Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre is no saint. After people, if you research what he was doing to Michelle A, Dr. Dre was beating Michelle A. To me, that's a punk move to be beating up a girl. I don't look at Dr. Dre the same way anymore. And just do your research on Dr. Dre, and but it is what it is. So let me read some more. Comments. Kevin says, if you focus solely on Behringer or Kai or the latest gear company's product, you would get a ton of views, but you might end up arguing with a lot of your toxic gear snobs. Like I said, it's I don't even get into those debates no more. Between people just like what they like. It's kind of like I'll address it one thing on this. As many pro engineers that were using SSL consoles, but yet you had Alan Schmidt that said he couldn't stand SSL consoles. But you got Grammy Award winning people like Michael Breyer and Bob Clearmountain and Chris Alge using SSL consoles. You got Dave Pensado using SSL console. Even though it's like, so it's kind of like, I'm like, well, how can, Al Schmidt really, because he was the chief engineer of Capitol. But, the thing is, looking at Al Schmidt's credits of over having 40 different Grammys with over thousands of, work without, I'm like, can you really knock Al Schmidt for his opinion? That's just his opinion. So, because he said, I'd rather use Neve. I don't like SSLs. I won't touch them. That's your opinion. That's your preference. So, and like I said, let me see. Man, they're talking about going back for the man. It says Warm Audio 73 is thin sounding, 3.5, 2.1.2 K-ish. So, like I said, it's all, go back. Okay, I'm missing. Okay, so let me move on. Man says, I call BS. Party All Time is a great song. Once again, it's all personal opinion. To me, I just didn't like it, but we all can agree. We can agree to disagree. Kevin said, I love Party All the Time. Woo-hoo-hoo. I want to party all the time. Party all the time. Oh, okay. That's just me. Mac is on version 15, just kind of like the songs don't even sound alike. Oh, I think they're going back to, we're talking earlier what they was talking about going between on the going back to the Blurred Lines versus I want to party, the Marvin Gaye song. Says, so Screester says, what are you recording into right now? Is it going into audio interface bridge into an iPad and running into something else or what? No, you're talking about what for this live stream that I'm doing. All I have is a Behringer. It's called the Behringer Xenix. It's the Q802 because It's a mixer, but it's also can act as it has a USB, which means it can act as an interface. So it's actually my audio interface, but it's a mixer. And I like that because you got EQ on control and everything else on it. But I have, before it goes to the mixer to go into the computer for you to hear it, this mic is going into my Art Tube MP Studios, just a little small preamp. It's a tube preamp. And I'm using that going into the mixer, which is then going as my USB. So that's believe it or not, you could use that as your audio interface to record into your DAW and have your mic. You can, because it has other inputs, you can input instruments in there to record your guitar, your bass. Plus, it has built-in preamps in it too, so you can use it. You can use it as a standalone preamp mixer USB audio interface. The only downside to that is you only get 2 channels. You only get the USB. You can't record if you don't want to multi-track. It's not good for multi-tracking, but it's good if you're doing 1 or 2 single sources, which most people are doing with their interfaces, just a single source. So, let me see. DLC Amory was dope too. That song was a banger. It was on the radio for. I love that song. It's just one thing. I mean, I still go back and play it. Because what's unique about it is the chord structure of the pad sounds don't come in until later on. So you hear these augmented chords and these different minor chords at the end. So it's a unique psychological effect. I had to do how chord structure. I had to get back into some music stuff. I'm going to have to start getting back into that because that's what I do well. I'm a musician. Out of everything that I do, I'm a musician. So Rick Harrison produced one thing. Okay. Like I said, that was a solid song. Let me see. Going on to, yeah, we got, man, I missed so many comments. Single Lady and One Thing sounds nothing alike in mine. Yeah, they actually do. You know, they actually do. That's why it raised a lot of red flags. And then Single Lady was made with Tricky Stewart, the Dream producer. Let me see. They said, man, where I agree with that. And one makes one. Let me see. Okay. Let me see J Production to move on because I got comments coming in. Oh yeah, Jay said it's no secret that songs influence other songs. I mean, 50% of time clients send songs reference saying can you make something like yeah. And I'm a little even guilty of that. I can get influenced by a song and come up with my own idea and spin. You know, a lot of songs can sound close as long as they don't sound identical. You know, like the doom doom doo 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 doom 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 doo. Try to say that was your own when obviously, I forget the group that actually did that song. Let's see. Let me see. Move on. Let's see. Yeah, I know. This is the most amount of comments I've ever seen here live. You're picking up. Yeah. Yeah, I know. I'm amazed. I'm hoping that, I think that people know that that I'm gonna start doing this at 8:00 on Sunday, being consistent. I think more people know the time in. So y'all know now, unless I announce it that I'm gonna do these live streams at a different time, I'm definitely gonna try to do these on different dates. Like I said, I got so much I can't keep up. I can't keep up. So let me see. What else did I miss? So let me move on. Let me see. Welcome, Born Shamir. Yo, welcome. A lot of people that tune in late, like I said, I'm only gonna be on here for about another 15 minutes. Let's see. Let me see. Okay, let me see. He said in Jamaica, the music industry is equal parts music and criminal. Well, yeah. He said, "Oh man, so I could spend hours telling the dark horror stories of the music industry. Seem pretty much the worst of the worst. That's why when independent, like I said before, I think when TLC when they got up there and announced that we sold 10 million copies and we're broke. I mean, so. Oh, you talking about when she did her interview? Man said, and Whitney said, "Crack is whack." But she up there, that's what killed her. She drowned, getting high and then drown, getting the tub high and drown in the tub. In a hotel, she was supposed to perform, because she couldn't break. Let me tell you, just like I had to agree with Rick James, cocaine's a hell of a drug. Just like you said, cocaine's a hell of a drug. There's some people that cannot break the addiction. It's kind of like with people that are porn addicted, they addicted to porn. Addictions are addictions. I don't care what kind of addiction you have. Addictions are hard to break. Let me see. See, Mark is cooking right now. My respect. Just hit 100% with him. He's our thanks, appreciate it. He says, I'm right about the meeting. I'm just saying, I'm observant, and I got that trait from being in the military. They used to tell me when I was young, attention to detail, because they do try to influence your mind because they know it's kind of like, well, I'm like, I'll say this one thing why I became so observant. I'll give you this one scenario. This is not music related. I'll just say this right quick. And I don't want to get into a big thing about this. Okay. I was watching this. I used to be a big JFK shooting conspiracy. What got me interested, I was stationed at Fort Hood, and Dallas is only 2.5 hours away. So I had to go to Dallas, and I happened to get off at this exit. I didn't know where I was at in Dallas because I had never been to Dallas. I just happened to get off, and I stopped to go get something to eat. And I went to this one place, and then I said, well, let me drive. And then I said, that building looks familiar. So I stopped my car, got out, and started looking at this building. And I looked, and I said, wait a minute. And then it said Texas Depository, then they're talking about, the whole JFK shooting. And I looked at the area, and I said, wait a minute, this area is super small. Because when you watch the videos and all the, from what I used to see, it looked at, it didn't look like it looked bigger and all this. And I'm like, wow, this area is really, really small. So no wonder they was able to get him in that limousine. So I started doing research. I got interested in it. And then as the more stuff I got interested into it, stuff just didn't make sense anymore. A lot of stuff just didn't make sense. Like when they found the rifle, they said it was a 7.65 Mauser. And then when they found out Oswald didn't own a Mauser, they changed it to a 6.5. And now when you start changing stuff, I'm like, wait a minute, you said y'all found, so anyhow, that's the reason why I started being suspicious of the media when they start reporting stuff. Because I'm like, they're not always, Denzel Washington said it best. If you watch the news, you're going to be misinformed. But if you don't watch the news, you're going to be uninformed. So you got to be careful with the news. And I noticed when they report on, for me being in the Army, when they report something in the Army, they get so much stuff wrong. And I'm like, first of all, they start calling lieutenant colonels colonel, or they start calling them sergeant majors and calling them sirs and all. And we know in the military, you don't call a sergeant major sir, you call them sergeant major. But the media, they don't know because it's civilians. They don't know. Just like when I watch military movies, they be so wrong. Military movies be so inaccurate. It's just, I can't watch them. I'm like, that's wrong. We don't do that. We don't do this. That's not how that works. And so anyhow, moving on. So that's why when I watch the media, I'm just really reluctant, unless, something that's obvious, like a hurricane, the weather, they hardly lie about, you can't lie about a hurricane. So anyhow, moving on. Let me see. Ogolopik says, remember, I agree 100% to Marcus. I worked in a warehouse music store and I saw many product return. Behringer was not one of them. And, let me, like I said, because There's always, people that just not gonna like Behringer. There's just gonna be, that's fine. Like Al Smith didn't like SSL. Just because Al Smith doesn't like SSL, is SSL a bad product? No, SSL is a superior, they won numerous awards for their consoles. Their consoles, their 4000s, what put SSL on the market. Then they made the 6000. So SSL is a great company, and so many mixing engineers use it. So it's kind of like, just because you don't like SSLs don't mean SSLs are bad. It's just everyone likes what they like. Just like, for example, a lot of people like the LA2As for vocals. Some people don't like the LA2A for vocals. Some people like 1176 on vocals, or some people like distressors on vocals. Some people like wherever they like on vocals. Some people don't even like need 1073s because they got fixed EQ. Some people don't even want to use or 1081s or 1084. Some people don't even like me. I'm not big on API 2500 compressors. I just don't like the sound of them. I like the sound of the SSL compressor and the Need 33609 compressors. I don't like the API. They sound too squashed. They're too overly compressed to me. That's just me. But there are people that love, just like some people like API EQs. I'm not really big on API EQs. Some people love API EQs, but that's just all preference. So let me see. It might not be a lot of us, but we are. Yeah, I appreciate. Like I said, I appreciate everyone chiming in. This is great. I love everyone's. Like I said, we all can agree. Sometimes we're just not gonna. We're not gonna. There's nothing to say that we all have to agree on everything. But like I said, going back to what Oglapix said about Behringer stuff, like, let me tell you, my Behringer MX8000, that board came out in 90s, and I still use it. It's still working. It's almost 30 years old, and it still works. Most of the Behringer stuff that I do have, most of it has not failed. It just hasn't. I don't like everything Behringer makes. I just don't like everything Behringer makes. But then there's I'm not big on. I used to be big on Personas. I don't have a lot of Persona. I've gotten rid of a lot of my Persona stuff. I only have a few Personas as preamps, but I do like. To me, one of the best, besides the ADL 600, 700 Personas, this is called. They had an 8-channel compressor and an 8-channel preamp they used to make. I got them in my rack downstairs. Those are awesome. And I'm like, they discontinued it. I said, there they go again, discontinue more great products. That's my beef with Personas. Quit discontinuing your stuff. That's the reason why it kind of turned me off on Personas. So let me see. We got so many comments. Let me see. Let's see. I said, man said Kanye West first ruled in the world. Don't pay attention to anything you see in the news. Kanye West, I'm not understanding Kanye. I mean, they call him Ye, and then, when him and Kim, and they naming this, West, and he named his child North, and I mean, just I don't understand. I think, they used to dog, people would dog. I got my thoughts on when they were dogging Kim Kardashian, talking about she's just because she used to be with Reggie, I think it was Reggie Bush from the Saints. And then she was messing with Brandy's brother, Ray J. They did a little sex tape thing. So, then she was with, then she's married to Kanye and all that. I think it can be kind of a double standard when we start judging all these women jumping to these different men, but you got these men jumping with different women. It's an equal playing field there. But and I don't, people may not agree, but I'm sorry, but Kim Kardashian, that's a good looking female. That's just my opinion. You know, people can judge whatever you want. Kim Kardashian, that's a good looking woman. You know, but anyhow, I digress. Let me move on. You said, Jay said, hey man, I'm not addicted to vodka. I can stop anytime. Sure you can. I bet you got a whole cabinet full of vodka right now. So let me see. Some more. Let me see. Clark Technic K2A with the opto cell and all the tube upgrade sounds like. Let me see. I got the I upgraded I got the K2As in my rack, and that's the first thing I did is I got the Black Lion T4B OptoCell upgrade. I bought those. They were $99 from Sweetwater night and day. You know, when I put those in my, and I read that. Believe it or not, like I said, I'm gonna do another track, and I'm gonna let you hear with those. I'm gonna let you hear with all this stuff going with the Allen Heath and all the outboard gear and vocals. I did a Christmas CD with an artist about a year or so ago, and I let people hear just a snippet of her singing, and then I let people hear, you know, what it was when you actually can hear mixed copy. Her vocals are running through that Clark Technic K2A. So if you want to hear what, you know, that's what the vocals are going through. Believe only half of what you've seen and none of what you heard. You gotta be careful. Like I said, you gotta be careful. Some stuff can be rumors. You know, because you gotta be careful with people when they start. You know, you gotta be careful what people start saying. You really do when it comes to stuff that you've heard. Unless you can, you know, when you hear something, you better research on it. I'm just saying. I don't care if it's your mom, your brother, your sister, your uncle, your friend. Someone said, hey, man, I just heard there was a car accident on 3rd Street. Let me research that. And then you go and let's say it's an actual article and you see a picture of a car accident, then yeah, okay, I can verify. Because even if you have the article, the picture's not going to lie. You know, there's the actual car, you know. You have to back validate that stuff. So when someone says, man, I heard, that's why it irks me when people, the biggest pet peeve for me for the YouTube is when they just sit there and say, sad to report Charlie Wilson of the Gap Band passed away. And then you go back and the first thing I do is I go look other sources. He's still well alive. That irks me because people want to clickbait to build their channel. And I'm like, why would you blatantly lie on something that's blatantly obvious? It's kind of like when someone say, they got every person they ever went through SEAL training. They were just like you right now. You can go to your school and get your school transcripts of the high school, elementary, and middle school that you went to, and you can actually go pull those records, the school, and get your transcripts. That can be validated. Plus, everyone that goes to the school, when you go to this school, you had classmates. They had every name of everyone that was in your classmate. They take class photos and everything else. So these people said they were Navy SEALs. Well, if you were a Navy SEAL, you're going to be in a class photo. And you're going to have everyone in that class knows you. So that you can't, you know, that's why it's funny. It's funny to me when people start saying that. So anyhow, let me read a few more, then I'm going to go ahead and get off. Anyhow, let me see. I did not find any Kardashian attractive, nor do I find J-Lo once I perceive a person's personality as negative. I can't just find them attractive. My mind won't go there. And like I said, it's the same thing with Stacey Dash. I used to think Stacey Dash was the most beautiful woman in the world until she just went, you know. I still think I'm not going to discredit Stacey Dash's beauty because I think a person can still be attractive physically, But what makes them unattractively is their attitude and personality can make them can be a turnoff. And I think that's what killed Stacey Dash. I think that's what killed her. Is she's still a gorgeous woman. She just got what can you do? So the YouTube is like I said, sometimes it's the network. It could be lagging because it's as I'm doing this live stream, it's also uploading to YouTube. And there's millions of people on YouTube, so they just sometimes the system can be lagging the system. So okay, Saint Nick, what do you think about the new A28 by Motu? It offers a lot of features. Why isn't Motu more popular? I like the gear. Also, since it can only have 2 pre's, what would be since I only have 2 pre's, what would be great pre to combine? I like Mark of the Unicorn or Motu. I got 2 Motu 896 HDs down here. I got the Motu 24 AI downstairs. I also got the Motu A28, not the A28, 896 Mark III. I like Mark of the Unicorn. I don't know why they're not more popular than they are, because everyone knows, a lot of people got the Apollo Twin, and interfaces like that. I would say for external it really depends on your budget. So if you only got a few $100s, I think the Art Pro MPA is a great starting point. If you want a channel strip, look at the Art Pro Channel 2s. Those are great. But the more you spend, but if you want something that's really, really nice preamp that won't break the bank, I got the Altron MP373s version 2. Those are Neve styles. Those are awesome sounding preamps, and they're only $399. You get them on Reverb. Those are amazing sounding preamps. But if you get that, you want to still invest in at least a good preamp. A good compressor to go with it. That's what I would look at. But as far as that, I don't know, because I think Mark of the Unicorn makes great stuff, but there are a lot of people that post some bad juju about Motus, how they've had problems with the Motus. I've never had any problems with them. But some people say they had problems with them. Breaking, like I said, that's with anything. People say envelopes break. People say there are people that will say anything. If there's a product, someone out there says I don't care what it is. Some people out there said it's just whatever they say about it. So I got distracted because someone said about looking at Kim Kardashian again. Some people don't find Nicki Minaj. It's like when Nicki Minaj or Cardi B. I think Cardi B and Nicki Minaj wear entirely too much makeup. But a lot of those artists wear way too much makeup. You look at them, a lot of them women without the makeup. A lot of them don't look, So, so let me see. Man says I once heard an artist say that music business is 10% talent and 9% business. That's about accurate. That's actually about accurate. Because you think about it, what's the sole purpose of a record label? When they see an artist, when we hear an artist, Whitney Houston, as amazing a singer as she is, that didn't have an effect on why would you drug her and get her hooked on cocaine and damage her ability to potentially make you money? Because it's business. It's, because they use drugs to control the artist, but a lot of times that backfires. And then when it starts to backfire, they'll just dump, like when they don't, it's kind of like you see when you see the movies. Even though you can be best friends, man, it's the same about friends, man. It's about business. and still will shoot him. Even it's kind of, you're supposed to be a friend, but this is business. I'm like, really? But you have to be a callous person to, it's just what it is. What it is. Man says Motu makes good stuff. I don't use their products anymore, but they're good. I still have them. I have Motus. My 896 HD. I love them. I think they're awesome. But I have Motu downstairs. So but like I said, I got an Antelope too. So all right. So let me see. I missed some more before. Let me see. Got a dip. I appreciate it. Secrete Studios. Appreciate it. It is 2 hours over 2 hours. I'm about to end it in the Secrete Studios. Appreciate it. It is 2 hours over 2 hours. I'm about to end it in the it's been over 2 hours, but I love these live streams. Let me go before it's a question. Have you ever heard of Lynx Aurora N series converters? How do you think they are? How do you think they both maintain their price and survive not involving products? Because when you have companies like Lynx, Apogee, Antelope, and companies like that are always going to cater toward your commercial studios businesses. And so as long as they know that they are repeat customers, even if it's a small amount of repeat customers that are going to be dedicated to that brand, they don't change. It's kind of like with Avalon, just EQs, preamps, and compressors. They don't have a gigantic line of but they know Avalon has a cult following, and I'm an Avalon cult follower. So it's just going to be like that, where they know they're going to have that many amount of people. It's going to have that many amount of people that's just going to be dedicated to Lynx. It's the same thing with people that with Apollo and other companies and products. There's just people that are going to be dedicated. So I think that's how they're able to get away with that. So let me see. It says, I think St. Nick was saying, I've never had, I think he's referring to Motu. I should be on the Apple M2 Mac Pro. Going to be a hassle migrating. Yeah. Well, I don't wish you luck. So, okay. These companies are high-end boutique companies, top tier. But you got to remember, it's kind of how you look at it. You got to look at it like this. Yeah, appreciate you. Thanks. Appreciate you. We'll see you next week. I'm sure we'll see you next week. And I'm going to say this because I got to end it. Like I said, it's well over 2 hours. I got to say this. Think of it when you have, and I can see why these companies sell the type of gear that they sell. When you are like United Way, as an example, or East West, or Electric Lady, or Blackbird, or whatever, and you got clients, something like dust flew in my nose or something. When you got clients, we're talking Taylor Swift, Mariah Carey, we're talking $1 million clients. You cannot afford to compromise. And I'm not saying that you can't do a good job with affordable stuff that we can afford, like a $300 Rode NT1. But you got to remember, there's a lot of producers involved. There's record executives and all that. And they are still biased to, like, your studio needs to have an SSL console or Neve. It needs to have Telefunken and Neumann microphones. It needs to have Neve preamps. It needs to have Pultec EQs. It's got to have Lang EQs, distressors. You just got to have that type of gear or we won't book it. Even still to this day. And it's like, there are probably people that can probably do a great job using Pro Tools, you know, Wave Slate, I came Multimedia, Isotope, Sound Toys, whatever plugins, a Behringer Euphoria interface, a MIDI controller, and some monitors, you know, and can do an amazing job. But it's more people involved. That's why it's kind of like certain things are required, and so that's why it's going to take a minute for a lot of these companies realize people can get, you know, and it also based on reputation too. They know that these studios with that kind of gear, with the kind of engineers and systems and all that, are going to get these results. This is the reason why they still go to pro level photographers, even though you can go buy your Nikon or Canon camera with some lenses, strobes, and all that, and take some amazing photos. But there are people that in the business that have a reputation for that, and it's hard to circumvent to get you your foot in the door, if that makes sense. So, oh, Bobby said, I love East West. Amazing studio. Used to be East West used to be part of Western Recorders, and it used to be I think it used to be Ocean West Studio A, or then Ocean Way Studio 1 or whatever, and then it became East West in like mid 2000s. Ocean Way, because Alan Size sold his Ocean Way, then it became United. You know, Alan Size, you know, basically concentrate on making his speakers, but you know, Alan Size used to own those studios. I think East West used to have some building issues and then they fixed the building because it used to be a grocery store in the 40s or something like that. But anyhow, it's been well over 2 hours. I need to go because I haven't eaten dinner. It's already after 10 here. I hadn't even eaten dinner. I need to go, you know, and it's not good to eat this late. That's why I got bad eating habits because I didn't look like this when I was in the Army. So I want to wish everyone thanks for tuning in. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. And we're going to see you next week. Once again, I enjoy all of y'all great. All of y'all great. So I really do appreciate y'all. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see y'all all next week. And y'all have a great one. Make some good music. We'll see you next time.